Let's bring in our panel for today to discuss this further. Tim Hogan, Democratic strategist and former communications director for Senator Amy Klobuchar, and Brian Seitchik, Republican strategist and former regional political director for the Trump 2020 campaign. Thank you both for being with us. Brian, I'm going to start with you. If some key GOP megadonors move on from former President Trump, will that influence the party to split? I mean, can't he afford to campaign without them?
I think the split is already underway. I mean, in your story earlier, there's chatter of how McConnell's going to keep his caucus together. He does that by focusing on 24 and promises of return to the majority. The map is certainly more favorable for Republicans in 24, so that's going to be their agenda. And obviously, President Trump's agenda is to fight off all of these challengers, possibly Ron DeSantis, possibly others, and return to the White House. So the key is, how do those two disparate agendas come together? It's going to be very tough.
Tim, with a divided Congress, who will be a greater roadblock? Senators Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, or the House?
Well, I think it's clearly going to be the House. I mean, Senators Manchin and Sinema have worked with the Democratic caucus before, despite some debates over issues with judicial nominations, with passing things like the Inflation Reduction Act. And I think the clear contrast for the president is going to be the GOP House, whether they run wild with investigations and showcase some extremism, if they try to repeal really popular portions of the Inflation Reduction Act related to healthcare or the environment, or whether or not they try to pass things like a national abortion ban. That's going to be a good contrast for the president to show that you want him and Democrats in control of Congress.
Brian, Senate
go
ahead.
Sorry, we also have to understand this time, Manchin and Sinema, who last time made life a little difficult for Schumer, have their own re-elections this time. Senator Sinema's numbers in Arizona, where I live, in a Democrat primary, are not great right now. So her interests now are going to be a little more allied with Schumer and trying to get things passed with Biden, as opposed to trying to sort of brandish her moderate credentials. So that's an important component to this also. She's such a key vote last time, and that's going to be the case again this time.
Good point. Brian, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell holding on to his job despite some public backlash from members of the party. Was this all a lot of hype and rumors ahead of the vote, and can he keep the party coalesced?
It certainly felt like a lot of posturing. I mean, when there's 10 votes, you're not really that close to do it. It's really a good sort of Republican primary talking point to say you're not going to support Mitch McConnell. It didn't really feel like his leadership was ever in jeopardy. These folks can say they opposed him. It didn't work out. He's the head of the Republicans in the Senate again. And I don't want to say it's sort of back to business, but it sure feels like we're back to Senator Mitch sitting at the head of the table.
Yeah, and when you mentioned the 10 votes, you're talking about Senator Rick Scott, as he
yes.
was brought up to actually oppose that leadership. Tim, how do you see former President Trump's early entry into the 2024 race affecting both the GOP primary and that of your fellow Democrats?
I mean, I think once again, he makes himself front and center for the Republican Party. And the reality is he is the front runner. He is the former president of the United States. I think it's harder for him to run as an anti-establishment candidate than which he harnessed in 2016. I also think he's running on more of a vengeful platform. That is why he is running. He's taking swipes at people like DeSantis and Youngkin early on. It's surprising a little bit that he's running so early on after an unsuccessful midterm for the Republicans. But he brings all of the polarizing effect that he had in the past, if not more, to the GOP primary.
Brian, I wanted to let you answer the same question. What do you think this is, a revenge running?
I mean, Donald Trump enters this race in his weakest position perhaps he's ever been in. I mean, in 2015, when he got in the race, when he came down the golden escalator, there was such aspiration and such excitement. And the fact is, after last week's election, a lot of that is on Donald Trump. He comes in very weak. He does not have the support that he had in the past, and he's going to force Republicans to sort of pick sides much earlier than they want to. So he's going to bring some chaos to this. He certainly affects everything. And again, we're back to the disparate agendas. Republican senators want to take back the chamber in 24. Donald Trump wants to get elected president. All that stuff's going to come crashing together over the next 18 to 24 months.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.